Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is recover. Let's take a look at some of the definitions or ways that we use this verb. The first way you might hear recover used is to mean to return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. So, as people use this verb with this particular meaning in mind, they generally mean that someone is improving or going back to normal after injury or maybe an illness. A second way you might hear recover used is to mean to find or get possession of something again. Many times with this particular meaning, you'll hear a reference to something that has been stolen. So there will be questions of whether police or investigators can recover stolen property. So get possession and give it back to its original owners. A third way to use the verb recover is to mean to make up for something. This something could be to make up for time or position, maybe profits. With this particular usage, I know I've heard sportscasters use this particular verb. So maybe someone is losing a race, and there's a question: can they recover? Can they make up the position and come back to win the race? And you might hear that in team sports as well. Can the team recover in the second half or fourth quarter, depending on which sport we're talking about? You should know that recover is a regular verb. To make the progressive tense, all you need to do is add ing to form recovering. The past tense and participle forms of this verb are made by adding ed. Our base verb, recover, ends in a voiced R sound. So our past tense ending is just going to make a D sound. Recovered, recovered. Now, let's take a moment to look at some phrasal verbs. The main phrasal verb you'll hear with recover is recover from, and the three definitions we just looked at still sort of apply. But I thought it would still be good for you to see some example sentences on how this looks. So, again, the first way you might use recover from is to mean to return to good health after illness or injury. An example of this: she has been recovering from her injuries in the car accident for several weeks. Okay, so getting a little better or improving from those injuries day by day. Our second way to use recover from is to mean to get something back that has been taken or has been stolen. An example of this: did they recover the stolen jewels from the thieves? Our third way to use recover from is to return to some stable, competitive, or composed position or status. Let's take a look at the example sentence here to help us understand this definition. Has Haiti recovered from the earthquake? Right. So, unfortunately, there have been many devastating natural disasters in the country of Haiti in recent years and in 2021. And so, this question is asking if the country has been able to return to a stable position. You might think of what it was like before the earthquake. Now let's continue using our verb of the day in a couple different verb tenses. Today we're going to practice the present progressive, and some of you might know this is the present continuous. They mean the same thing. And we'll also practice in the simple future using will. Let's start with the present progressive. You probably remember that we use this verb tense to talk about something that is happening right now or an action that is in progress. To make the present progressive, we're going to use a present form of be, so that's am, is, or are, and then we'll use the ing form of the verb. Let's look at an example in the affirmative. So this is positive. He's recovering from surgery at home. Okay, so it's possible someone had surgery a day or a week ago, something in the past, and his healing process is occurring. It's happening right now, it's in progress, and it's being done at home. If you want to make a negative present progressive sentence, just insert not after your be verb. You might hear some people use contractions. Is not can be changed into isn't. Are not can be changed into aren't. And you can see that in our example here. Unfortunately, some unvaccinated patients aren't recovering from COVID-19. So here you see the contraction and then you see that ing form of the verb. Okay? And this sentence kind of makes me sad. And I can't imagine how hard it is for all of our healthcare workers who are seeing many people pass away due to the complications and issues from COVID-19, and particularly the Delta variant. If you want to ask a yes or no question in the present progressive, start with your form of be that matches your subject, and the subject's going to come next, and then you'll use that ing form of the verb. Here's another example. Is the business recovering from the pandemic quickly? Now let's take a look at the simple future using will. You probably know there are a number of ways to talk about future actions, um, but we tend to use will when we are making predictions. We might also use it for a quick decision or a promise. We might also use it with offers. I think the predictions and promises are probably are more common with this particular verb, recover. So the nice thing about using will in the simple future is that our structure is going to be the same no matter what our subject is. So it will always be will and then the base verb. You can see that in the affirmative or positive example. You will recover in the ICU for a few days after surgery. So this might be something that a doctor is telling a patient so that they understand kind of what's going to happen after a particular surgery. If you want to make a negative simple future sentence using will, then we need to use will, not, and then the base verb. You might hear people use the contraction won't. That's in my example here. She won't recover very quickly, right? So fortunately, this might be kind of a negative prediction that a doctor or healthcare worker might be forced to make. If you want to ask a yes or no question in the simple future, start with will, then you'll have your subject, and then the base verb. Here's another example. Will they recover the stolen funds? So here, maybe I'm asking someone else to make a prediction about what they think will happen in the future. Now, let's spend a few minutes looking at words related to our verb recover. The first word we're going to look at is the noun recovery. This can have a few meanings, just like our verb recover. The first way you might hear the noun recovery used is to refer to a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. You can see the connection here to the first definition that we looked at. Now, when you think of health, I know many people think of individual's health, a person. But sometimes I've used something that might seem a little odd in my example sentence here. We can talk about the health of a business or an organization, or in my example sentence here, the stock market. The stock market's recovery happened very quickly. A second way to use the noun recovery is to refer to the action or process of regaining possession of something that has been stolen or lost. An example of this usage in a sentence would be, the organization is offering a cash reward for information leading to the recovery of the stolen cars. So if you can provide a tip or some information that lead police to be able to regain possession of the cars, then you're going to receive a cash reward. Another related word you might hear is the adjective recoverable. This means able to be regained or retrieved. An example of this might be in the question here, are the files recoverable? This is a question many people ask in connection to their computers and other tech. Sometimes something will happen and it seems like everything is lost. So what my question is asking here is, am I going to be able to access or regain these particular files that I had saved? The opposite adjective is unrecoverable. So hopefully you can see that prefix un on the front of the word, meaning not. So here, this adjective could be interpreted as meaning not able to be improved, recovered, or corrected. An example of this might be he sustained unrecoverable injuries. So here, this might be implying he's not going to be able to get better. Um, there might be something permanent that will stay with him after this particular event or accident, whatever happened to cause the injuries. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you have a great day.